Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're putting on our detective hats to analyze the incredibly complex era of early American colonization. We aren't just going to sit here and memorize dates and names. Instead, we're diving straight into the evidence. We'll be using a really specific, structured approach to break down historical texts, figure out what they're actually saying, and understand the massive shifts that went down when different worlds collided in North America. Ultimately, this is all about building your analytical skills so you can look at any piece of history and uncover the real story.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover opportunities and conflicts, go over some key vocabulary, do a modeled analysis together, spend some time busting misconceptions, do a quick student check, and wrap up with independent practice. By the end of this flow, you're going to have the exact tools you need for that independent practice task. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Opportunities and Conflicts.
So the crucial point we really have to keep in mind here is this essential question. How do we weigh the brand new possibilities for some against the severe tensions and suffering of others? Because, let's face it, history is rarely simple. For European settlers, colonization often meant a chance for new trade, religious freedom, or finally owning land. But, and this is a huge but, that exact same event represented catastrophic conflict, loss of land, and forced labor for indigenous populations and enslaved Africans. You literally cannot fully understand American history without holding both of these realities in your mind at the exact same time.
Moving on to Section 2, Key Vocabulary. Before we dig into the evidence, we need to lock in our working language. Take a close look at this definition of transatlantic slavery. Notice the specific words being used here: a colonial economic system and forcibly transported. Transatlantic slavery wasn't just some random occurrence, right? It was a deliberate, structured economic engine built to generate immense wealth for the colonies, all through profound human suffering. When we look for evidence of deep conflict in our historical sources today, this system is one of the most glaring, tragic examples of how the pursuit of opportunity for some directly caused the oppression of others. Now for Section 3, Modeled Analysis. Let's see how this works step by step. Whenever we look at historical accounts, we follow these 4 precise steps to uncover the truth of the past. First, we isolate a source detail, meaning we find a specific quote or fact that really jumps out. Second, we formulate a claim, which is basically stating what we believe this detail actually proves. Third, we identify cause and effect. We ask ourselves, what action led to what result? And finally, step 4, we determine perspective. We have to figure out whose point of view is being represented. And, honestly, just as importantly, whose point of view might be entirely missing. These 4 steps, they are your ultimate toolkit for becoming a master historian. Okay, let's actually put those steps into practice. Looking at this historical detail, I immediately notice how this text pairs economic expansion directly with forced labor and displacement. The quote literally puts the words "new systems of trade" in the exact same breath as transatlantic slavery and displacement of Native Americans. So we've just successfully completed step 1 by isolating this crucial detail. Now we can use it to formulate a claim for step 2, making the case that colonial wealth was entirely dependent on the exploitation of non-European peoples. And mapping this cause and effect out visually makes the historical relationship crystal clear, which knocks out step 3 of our process. It shows exactly how the desire for new opportunities directly resulted in deep, tragic conflicts. Think of it like this. The left side is the cause, right? The drive for trade and territory. The right side is the inescapable effect, the implementation of transatlantic slavery and the push to remove indigenous communities from their ancestral lands. By laying it out this way, we aren't just memorizing facts. We are actively proving how one historical action triggered a massive systemic reaction. All right, Section 4, Busting Misconceptions.
We need to pause our analysis for just a second, because it is absolutely vital to analyze the tensions between myth and history here. For a very long time, popular mythology painted a picture of early America as this vast, empty wilderness just waiting to be peacefully settled. But as the historical reality reveals, prehistoric North America was already home to massive, complex, and incredibly diverse indigenous societies. Recognizing this totally shatters the myth of the empty land. It reminds us that colonization was a highly complex system of collision and conflict, not just some peaceful expansion into the unknown. When we do our historical analysis, we always have to separate those comfortable myths from the hard historical realities.
Next up, Section 5, Student Check. Okay, Take a moment to think about how you'd apply our 4 steps here, focusing strictly on the evidence of religious beliefs and indigenous conflicts. If you isolate details about early colonists wanting to spread their religion, what claim can you formulate about how they viewed Native American cultures? What was the cause and effect? Did their religious piety lead to peaceful coexistence, or did it cause cultural clashes and displacement? Really think about the perspective of the colonists versus the perspective of the Native Americans who are actually experiencing this expansion.
And finally, Section 6, Independent Practice.
Your teachers can actually pause the explainer right here while you complete these exact steps using your historical accounts. Remember, this is your time to be the historical detective. Grab your text, find that one specific detail that really jumps out at you regarding either an opportunity or a conflict. Build a strong, solid claim around it, and then draw a clear line between the cause and the effect. Don't rush it. Trust the process we just modeled together. As we wrap up, I want you to keep this provocative question in mind as you dive into your sources. History is written by people, and for centuries, the narrative heavily favored the perspective of those who found opportunity, while completely ignoring or minimizing those who experienced the conflict. By using your new analytical skills to look closely at the evidence of transatlantic slavery and the displacement of Native communities, you have the power to uncover what was previously ignored. Let's see what profound historical truths you can uncover on your own.